Okay, Elvis, thank you for stopping by with Urban News. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Grateful. Thank you so much for having me. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, especially that I'm a big fan. I really promised myself I would not say this, but I can't help it. You're on my screen now. I'm a big fan of your work, especially now that you're on Godfather of Harlem. So it's awesome to have you here because I have so many viewer questions and I have questions for myself. So
Oh,
feeling
wonderful.
great.
Thank you so much. The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you. Thank you. So let's jump right into it. Actually, I wanted to ask you, who is Nat Pettigrew based off of?
Nat Pettigrew on Godfather of Harlem is based on a real person, a real human who walked the face of this earth in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And Nat Pettigrew was mostly known, and this is just information that has been passed on. Nat Pettigrew was not someone that you're going to Google and find out a lot of information on. You'll probably see one image of the real Nat Pettigrew, but
Mhm.
he was really well known for being a affiliate, a close person connected to another real life person named Elworth Bumpy Johnson.
Mhm.
Elworth Bumpy Johnson, as we know, hopefully we know. If we don't know, he's a real person who's from Harlem, lived in Harlem, who early on in his days in Harlem was someone who worked as a numbers runner, and later on became a person in the underworld who participated in the activities of the underworld, whether that was uh, numbers or drugs. But he was someone who was also very loved in the community. So I always like to be able to not level the playing field, but just know or at least address the fact that even though Elworth Bumpy Johnson was someone that was in this underworld, um, was also someone who the community seemed to uphold in a different light because of his contributions to the community, which were helping people financially, paying people's rents, giving away food, by large amounts to the community, and also helping young people at that time uh, go to college and pay for their college tuition. So what happened, what's where we at now, and thank you for asking the question, is that on MGM Plus, we have an amazing show called The Godfather of Harlem, which was,
Mhm.
yeah, created by a group of folks, Marquand Smith, Chris Brancato, Paul Eckstein, Nina Yan Jovi, and Forrest Whitaker, who also stars as Bumpy Johnson.
Oh, thank you for the introduction. Yes. So, actually, I also wanted to ask you as well. You are a total badass on Godfather of Harlem. You are whatever Bumpy Johnson needs you to run out there and do any action or do his dirty work for him if he's not available. You and your partner in crime, and you guys go ahead and obviously fight whoever he needs to fight them for. What is your favorite action scene in the series that you have done?
Oh, my favorite action scenes that I've done. It's a number of them. It's a number of them. I think I remember in season one where we enter the social club where the Italians usually hang out, specifically the Chin Gigante, played by the amazing Vincent D'Onofrio, and we go in there, guns blazing, ready to make a statement. And I remember that being a wonderful scene. Also, I think there was another scene where Chance, my other affiliate. I like to use the word affiliate, although in the world of Bumpy, we are a family because actually the real life Elworth Bumpy Johnson, whoever he had close to him, which, Nat Pettigrew and Del Chance were the two folks that, and Junie Bird as
Yeah.
well, played by Marquand Smith. Were folks that were like really part of his family, along with Mamie, his wife, and his
Mhm.
his daughter Elise and granddaughter. So yeah, I think that there's a number of I can't give you one specific one, but
Okay.
I can tell you that in season three, where we just saw last week, Nat Pettigrew has an encounter with this character named Ruben,
Mhm.
and folks have not seen it yet. I don't want to spoil it for them, but you will see Nat Pettigrew really enforce his position and the Bumpy Johnson Enterprise. So there's a little action going on there. I think you guys are going to be really happy.
I hope so because I got a little sneak peek from you from your character in season 2 when I believe you got caught up in stealing the Doogie or used to sell it and that whole thing happened. So I definitely wanted me to a lot of people were asking me to ask you like are we going to be able to get to know a little bit more about your past and about what happened in season 2 when you cleared that up and you were working with the gambling when you were gambling. People wanted
Mhm.
to know are we going to be able to get a backstory from your end.
That's a great question, and I hope that the creators are tuning in or will tune in and
I
hear that
hope
and
so.
and hear that the audience wants to know and they want an answer to that. I'm a very hopeful individual. So as a creative, as an artist, I would love to be able to myself see that be more for lack of a better word, just more clarified. And, let's give the audience a little more backstory of Nat Pettigrew and what got him to be this person that, as we saw in season two, a lot of folks, when they stop me in the streets or they recognize me, they're like, yo, my God, man, why do you have to steal Gucci, man? Man, I could have sworn, Bumpy was going, I didn't want him
I
to kill
know.
me. And I'm like, man, listen, can anyone be more happier than I am that didn't happen? But I think that the way I wanted to play it, and the way I wanted for it to unfold was we are human, we're flawed,
Mhm.
we make mistakes. But the relationship that has already been established between Nat Pettigrew and Bumpy Johnson was one that, I'm willing to face up to it and I'm willing to pay for the consequences, right? So, Nat Pettigrew got a thorough ass whooping,
Mhm.
looking like a man.
He did, he
And,
did.
but then he wants to show him, like, listen, I made a
I'm down with
mistake.
you.
I'm
Right,
down with you, man. Let me
right.
show you. Let me show you. And I think he pulled it off, man. So it's a really great question. I know for a fact as an artist that I already internally can tell you that I feel that I have a lot of the answers to where Nat
Mhm.
Pettigrew comes from, what led him to this space. And yeah, I'm just happy to hear that you and your viewers are in the same realm. You guys
Okay.
want to know, so hopefully we
Yeah,
hopefully we can give you that moving
yeah.
forward.
Because Bumpy did pass away at 68, so I'm not sure how the writers are gonna, pan out the rest of the series coming forward. But that's something that we would love to know about, each of the members. We like to know a little bit about their past.
Mhm.
Um, But I hope you don't mind me get a little personal with you. So I know you did grow up in Washington Heights. That's basically a neighboring city of Harlem. Did you ever hear about like any stories about Bumpy Johnson or American gangsters while you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, I originally from the Upper West Side. Originally, I was born and raised on 109th Street, 102nd Street, 101st Manhattan Avenue, and I grew up at a time where you were able to visibly with your own eyes, see a community that was infested with this phenomenon.
Mhm.
So when you hear stories like Frank Lucas and Nicky Barnes and with Bumpy Johnson, I personally was not around to say that I met these folks, but
Mhm.
yes, they are legends that you hear their names synonymously through time. And uh, coming from the Upper West Side, knowing the neighborhood and knowing visibly how the neighborhood had that feeling, that aura of there's something that is in our community that is a phenomenon and it is affecting our community. You always heard. tales and you always heard stories of these individuals, especially Elworth Bumpy Johnson. And I think that you heard even more stories of Elworth Bumpy Johnson because of the things that he did. You know, I mean, this is someone who clearly knew what he was doing, but
Mhm.
seemed to somehow um, I I don't want to say that he lived with this, you know, shadow. Like I know that I'm doing this, you know, but he was a businessman, you know. At the end of the day, he really was a businessman. He understood the world, but he also understood community and he also understood family
Mhm.
and he also understood, I guess, what giving back and being of service was. And I know that that sounds that could sound to a lot of folks like, wait a minute, you're talking about someone who's selling drugs, you know,
He
who's
was
actually
kinda like a Robin Hood in his own way.
exactly. So thank you for saying that because that's exactly what it was. But then again, you know, Elwood Bumpy Johnson's story is an American story,
Yeah.
right? So let's be clear about that. You know, just like you have the Chinese mafia, you have the Polish mafia, you have the Russian mafia,
Mhm.
the Cuban mafia. So you know, it's part of America's fiber and makeup. So we can't just point the finger at one person and say, you know, this is just,
He's the only one, yeah.
yeah, this is America, you know.
It's very interesting to see how he worked with different cultures as well, because during that time period, it was during the civil rights movement, and the show captures it. I know now towards season 3, he's working more closely with the Cubans, and he's trying to push away from the Italians. Can you just elaborate why this is so significant for viewers to see this point of view from you as being the actor in the show? Why is it so important for the writers to include Bumpy working with different cultures, and why is it significant?
Because that's just the reality of what it is. Again, when I say it's an American story, you know, my background is Dominican, you
Mhm.
know, and in the 80s, you know, there was an influx of Dominicans coming to New York specifically, although my parents came in the 60s to the Upper West Side. So why are we seeing this in Godfather of Harlem? Because as you have new communities coming together, you know, like the Cuban community was there, you know, way before, you know, there was a large number of Haitian communities in New York, or way before there was a larger community of Dominicans in New York. There was a huge community of Cubans, you know, that had already migrated to New York and other parts of the 50 states. So, of course, you know, every new community that comes in are going to automatically intertwine themselves into the American culture. And whatever the American culture is, you know, the Italians, when you look at films like The Godfather, with The Godfather, right? Just giving you an example, you see that The Godfather, you know, and I'm talking about the Mario Puzo, you know,
Mhm.
Francis Ford Coppola, Godfather. You see that the Italians were, you know, doing racketeering. They were holding up, you know, trucks that had
Robberies, yeah.
yeah, they were delivering, you know. So
Right.
it's just part of the fiber of America, and that's just the best way that I can explain it. But there's also a tie between the blackness of things, meaning, you know, the Cubans are, you know, can identify a lot with the African American community, and so can the Dominicans. You know, we can
Mhm.
identify a lot with the African American community, and you know, we're all immigrants, and we're all chasing and looking for the American dream. So, you know, we might speak Spanish, another one may speak patois or French, you
Yeah.
know, another one might just speak English. But when we look at each other, you know, we fall under the same category because being a kid growing up in New York, born and raised in New York, you know, I was never looked as being a Dominican kid,
Yeah,
right?
people weren't aware of Afro Latinas and Latinos.
Exactly. I was just another black kid growing up in a black neighborhood with other
Mhm.
black people,
Right.
you know. So
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to answer your question as to why is it that Bumpy is now, in business with the Cubans. And you know what? Then the Cubans were in business with the Dominicans, and the Dominicans were in
Mhm.
business with the Haitians, and on and on and on.
Right. I was just saying earlier that I grew up in New York. I grew up in New York. So like going through different boroughs, especially going to a city like Harlem, you still see things around. Like you still see Pleasant Avenue. They still have roads over there. Then you go to Spanish Harlem and everything, all the culture is still there. So I know pretty much during the 1960s, on the west side of Harlem, as you know, Malcolm X was over there, Adam Clayton Powell. Bumpy really had an impact on the culture, and it's still very present till this day. During that time period. And now that we are moving towards a different culture in season 3, what can viewers expect towards I guess, the season finale? What's the big boom that we should be waiting for?
Um, I think that episode after episode, you're just going to keep getting more booms. I don't know if we're going to see I mean, listen, you are going to see a season finale boom, right?
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and I'm not going to be the one to tell you boom is. But what I can tell you is that this season, the writing team of Michael Paynes and Chris Brancato and Paul Eckstein, and the directors, Guillermo Navarro and Joe Chappelle, just the whole team creatively above and beyond when it came to the writing. And that's something that was just being, whispered, while we were shooting, like, oh my
Mm,
God, so the next episode, oh my God, you see what your character's doing this episode? You see what, oh my God, so the writing is just being elevated. So it's just going to continue to give you more booms. So just strap on and just take the ride.
okay. I was hoping to get something out of you, but I'll take that. I'll take that.
No. I mean, you are getting something out of me, and what you're getting is that this season 3 is just not to be missed,
Mhm.
because it's like when you're on the set and you're working and you haven't seen the final edit or the final product, because we're shooting it, but
Yeah.
just to be able to the words from like the makeup artist as they putting on your makeup, or
Mhm.
the hair folks as they doing your hair, and like, did you read the next episode? Oh my God. So it's like throughout the whole time we were shooting, everyone was just like in constant amazement as to the writing and where we're heading to with these characters. So
Right.
just tune in MGM Plus every Sunday, and
Mhm.
you will not, you will not.
Not miss it. Yeah, I get the notifications. I have the MGM Plus app on my phone, so I get the notifications like Godfather of Harlem coming on tonight at this time. I think it comes. I think I get the notification around like 11 o'clock, and then the next hour at 12 it comes on, something like that. But I want to appreciate. I want to say this. A lot of actors that I've interviewed have never done this before. You mentioned a lot of people on the back end, and I think that's so important because um people need to get recognition for their hard work, and everybody that's working on the series needs to get recognized as far as costume designing, as far as set designing, as far as makeup, as far as styling. Those things are very important, even writing, editing, and you kind of mentioned a lot of those people. And I think that's very important, just because those people, like I said before, they need to get recognized and they need to be shouted out for their work. So I appreciate you for doing that. That's just my personal shout out to you. Sorry, but
Oh no, thank you. But it's just it really is. It takes a team to be able to get where we at, and like there's so many names that I want to continue to throw out there. But Mark Isham, does the score for
Mhm.
for Godfather Harlem, and it's just amazing when you hear these intros and you hear the different mixes of sounds and music, and to know the Swiss beats, with "Open Up My Window Again." You
Yeah,
know,
Rick Ross.
yeah, and even the opening credits, Jamel Shabazz, it was his artistic genius that put all of these different collages together where you're infusing the present with the past. So
Right.
it's just everything just gravitates you and grabs you. So yeah, no, I wouldn't, I wouldn't, that's just a way for me to do it, because it takes a team, and I know I'm grateful for each and every one of them. So they should, get a shout out, and people should know that, all of these folks are on board and doing an amazing job.
Thank you. And I just want to ask you, what's next for Elvis now that are you working on any projects in particular that you would like to share with us today?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. Like right now, I have this amazing project that I collaborated with Colin Kaepernick. It's called Killing County, and it's on Hulu. and it's a dear story, and it's something really close to the heart. It's a documentary series. It's a 3-part documentary series, and again, it's produced by Colin Kaepernick, and it's produced by ABC News Studios, and it talks about the wrongful killings that have occurred in our country, specifically in Bakersfield, California. And it's about this group of families that have come together, especially the Ramirez family, that have come together to put a voice to the voiceless. So I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud to be collaborating with Colin Kaepernick on that. I'm working on my own Frederick Douglass experiment, so I should be releasing that pretty soon.
Nice.
Film festivals across the country. And I'm also working as a producer on this amazing short film called Roe and the Stardust, which is
Nice.
directed and written by Eunice Levi's. And we've just was at Pan African Film Festival, where we were nominated for Best Short. So I'm just excited to be collaborating and stepping from in front of the camera to behind the camera, and creating some work, not just for myself, but for other underrepresented
Mhm.
artists, especially my Afro-Dominican, Afro-Latino community. You know, it's like
We need more. We need a lot more representation. I'm not Afro Latina, but I have a lot of friends who are. And even though we are all the same POC, it's always good to have somebody that they can recognize from their own, diaspora or culture. It's different. So I agree. We need a lot more.
absolutely, absolutely. So those are the things that I'm working on, and
Mhm.
yeah, just writing my own projects and creating some content so that I can be of service to other artists coming up, and have a platform for them to showcase their artistry and their talent. You know, so just like it's been done for me, you know, it's about paying it forward. So thank you so much for the question. That was a beautiful
Oh, no
question.
problem, no problem. I want to piggyback so that way everybody knows. For the Frederick Douglass, is that finalized yet, or is it still in the works? So that way we could,
I,
promote it.
Yeah, I'm actually doing the final touches to it. I'm actually here in Los Angeles right now, working with my editor, Abdul Malik Abbott, amazing director and editor. So we're doing the edits on that, and that is, you know, my good friend, producer Gabrielle Glore from the famous Urban World family. She's helping me produce this. And so, yeah, I'm going to be releasing it pretty soon, and I'm going to be submitting it to a lot of different film festivals. And, you know, so you guys hearing it here for the first time.
Good,
Frederick,
I'm so excited. I
yeah.
love it. I'm excited. I'm excited. So everybody, I want you guys to check that out. And can you just name the documentary one more time that you were working with the Colin Kaepernick on Hulu, please?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's called Killing County,
Yeah.
and it's produced by Colin Kaepernick, and it's on Hulu. You can catch the 3-part documentary series on Hulu. And yeah, man, listen, it's just an amazing way of storytelling, but it's true stories about, you know, true events that have happened in our cities and our communities. So please tune in to Killing County on Hulu and check it out. And follow me on Instagram, Elvis Nasco, Nasco, Elvis Nasco together on Instagram. And, you know, please chime in. Let's have a dialogue about that, you know, because that's something that is very, you know, close to the heart, close to the belt. So hopefully we can get more voices and more conversations about, you know, policing and wrongful killings, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, thank you. Awesome, awesome. I appreciate that so much. Um, I'm gonna tag everything below for you guys. That way that you can check out everything. His documentary is currently on Hulu, 3-part series. Make sure you check that out. And all of his other projects will be coming to us pretty soon. So we'll definitely be promoting that as well for you. We always talk about actors and artist work. So once that's finalized, we'll promote it on our Instagram page and website for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation, being able to be on this platform and talk with you. I really appreciate your time and patience.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Hopefully, I see you next year at Tribeca Film Festival if you submit of your work there.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna submit everywhere. So you know, again, with my producer Gabrielle Glore and my team, you know, we're gonna definitely get it out there, and you know, see what happens. Fingers crossed. Hope for the best.
Yes, thank you so much, Elvis. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And again, thank you so much for speaking with me today.
It's been nothing but a pleasure. So thank you.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right. Bye.